I'd like to call the June 13, 2024 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission to order. Our first item of business is roll call. Commissioner, say present, are here. Commissioner Ed LaTurco.
Here.
Okay, Commissioner Rob Sheehan.
Here.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Here.
Commissioner Kent Moffett.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Linsky.
Here.
And for the record, the chair, Larry Cohen, is present. And Commissioner Indra Deb, he is absent. He should be marked absent. Okay, so that's it. All right. So the next item is public comment, but before we get to that, I wanted to take a moment to congratulate Eileen Coleman on her appointment as Conservation Administrator. This is your first meeting, and we're very happy for you.
Thank you.
Make a speech. I'm just kidding.
I think we're good. We can just move on.
Can we move on?
Yes.
Your speech at the end.
You'll be signing autographs at the end.
All right, next is public comment. Let's start with in the audience. Someone for public comment? Sure, come on up. Of course, you know how this goes. You state your name and you state where you live,
Right.
and a few minutes is yours.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I may look a little familiar. I was here recently, but my name's Bob Young. I live at 3 Valley Circle.
Right.
And as I said, or touched on, I was here maybe a most previous meeting and the one before that. And I raised some concerns, and I appreciated the positive response that I received in acknowledging, and wanting to do something. And the area that I highlighted was the Burlington High School campus and the
Right.
Iona Ganley Conservation Area. I personally walk up in that area. My wife does as well. Lots of trash, and there was even an automobile tire, as you might remember I mentioned. And some of it may not be visible now because of the time of the year. But anyway, I don't know if anybody had any time. I encourage people to, on the committee, to try to visit, if they hadn't, some of these conservation areas, to see if there are any issues. And so I might like to hear that at some point. But I actually went and found, and I'd like just a brief moment, because I found out something about this wonderful woman.
About this what?
Wonderful woman, Iona Ganley.
Yes.
I found out something about her.
Yes.
And I think it's important that it gives more of a, I think, not credence, but added weight to, what the community thought of her and why that was named after her. It's very brief, but I'd like a moment just to read it.
Sure, please do.
Thank you. So this is actually from her obituary. Iona S. Skelton Ganley, a lifelong resident of Burlington, passed away peacefully with her family by her side on Saturday, November 16, 2013. The beloved wife of 67 years of Donald Dewey, and she was 85 years old. Iona was born March 1st, 1928, and raised in Burlington. She was one of 8 children raised by Horace and Cora Skelton on the family farm on Francis Wyman Road, where she tended cows, chickens, goats, and turkeys. They also harvested apples and pears. Iona was a 1945 graduate of Burlington High, where there were only 10 girls in her graduating class, as all of the men had left to fight in World War II. When her future husband, Dewey Ganley, returned from the service in 1946, they were married, uniting 2 of Burlington's largest families, and they raised 3 sons in their lifelong home. Iona worked in the Burlington school system for 26 years, beginning at the Union School, moving on to the Center School, and retiring from Burlington High School as a secretary in the guidance department. Iona and Dewey had great love of family and Burlington. Their home was an open house for their children and their friends growing up. In recent years, there was always a grandchild visiting, with one of the great-grandchildren or a family dinner taking place. Iona will be remembered as a loving wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Iona and her husband Dewey were active members of the Burlington High School Athletic Boosters Club, while her 3 sons participated in high school sports programs. For many years, Iona was an active member of the Burlington Garden Club and also participated in the Junior Garden Club with her granddaughter, Pam. Iona's love of nature and wildflowers was well known by her friends and colleagues, and upon her retirement, they named the land bordering the driveway into Burlington High School the Iona Ganley Conservation Wetland in her honor. She also participated in the Burlington Historical Society, donating many family items to the Historical Museum. So I was really quite moved when I read that and found out something about this wonderful woman. And she, you know, as it said near the end there, you know, her friends thought so much of her, they saw fit to name that area for her. So it was wonderful to learn more about her. And so I'm hopeful that we'll have that area back up to where everybody wants it and on a regular basis. I will add, I met with Brendan Egan and Dave, pardon me, the chairman of that Park and Rec Board, Dave Norden, just yesterday. And I told him about this area, and Brendan was going to reach out to Eileen and have a conversation and offer assistance if needed. So
All right.
that's where we are.
Let me say, Bob, that I appreciate you telling us that, because every time I've gone by that sign, I wondered about it, okay, sort of passively, and then after I go by the sign, to be honest, I forget about it, as everyone else does, probably. I don't know, at least that's what I do. The second thing is you may know this already, but I'll just state it just in case you don't. That area is a name for that spot. It is not a conservation area. It is not one, in other words, the Conservation Commission owns certain properties around. As a, you may know all this, I don't know.
I
But
don't.
no, but we do not have what is called the care and custody of that.
Okay.
Okay, in which case, that doesn't mean we couldn't do something, but it did, but as you can probably, during the summer, our resources are, I mean, our department is limited. We are one of the smallest departments, and we have, what, 2 people in the administration, and we have 1 assistant, and then we have stream cleaners that do kind of miscellaneous stuff. They do stuff, picking up stuff, as I understand it, in the summer. That's the extent of the staff that we have. I think, and I don't know if anyone knows, but I think it is high school property. Is that correct?
Yes, can I give a mini updated answer?
Yes, if you can update what I've just said, it would be.
Well, as Larry said just now, and John Keeley said the last time you were here, the Iona Ganley place is in name only. It's not a conservation area, as in an area that is managed by conservation. However, the update is that I did have one of our stream cleaners start early, and I'm having him right now go through each and every one of our conservation areas, and he's checking them to look at the trails, see if any of the trails need reblazing, look at trash, see if anything needs to be picked up, get an idea of what invasives are like, see if we've got any encroachments. So it's just a general inventory, and he's found so far there are some spots with trash in it, but on the whole, they're pretty good. Brendan did speak to me yesterday. I'm going to meet with him tomorrow at the high school, and we're going to see if we need to assist them just with that particular wetland, just so we can join forces if need be.
I mean,
but otherwise, they have staff that deal with the high
The
school.
beauty of that location, of course, is it's not on a well-traveled road with no sidewalk. I mean, there is a shoulder there, and it's a little bit safer. And, you know, during off hours, it's not particularly well-traveled. But if you were on Muller Road or some of these others, then that's pretty dangerous to have people out there doing it right on the edge where the wetland is and stuff. So you'll keep us updated on this?
Sure, yep.
So that's the status. It looks like your persistence, in this case, is beginning to pay off.
I was thinking bearing some fruit.
All right.
But I appreciate the time the other night and today, and, I'm glad that Brendan did reach out, as he said he would, and
Right.
so we'll get it resolved.
I mean, in all, Brendan is recreation, right?
Park and Rec.
So both recreation, I'm not sure how they arrange the maintenance of the land with respect, division between maintenance and schools, but their resources are vastly greater than what we have. But if we can assist, Eileen, that would be great.
Yeah, I think besides bringing this to your attention, I wanted to learn something as well as I go along, hopefully. And the word I'd use is, which you may already be doing, but being an advocate. You may not have the man or woman power to fix something, but you have a voice and you have a platform. So I'd ask you to be very much an advocate, and if something isn't right, as I said the other night, you see something, say something. And as a town, we need to resolve it, whoever's responsible.
Bob, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Every time you've shown up, I feel we are better off, we've learned something. So thank you for taking your time to come here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and, I hope it won't be the last time, and we'll have a lot of other things to talk about. But before the meeting, I wished Eileen well in her new
Right.
role, so that was good. And again, thank you, everyone, and your time and your patience and listening. And
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else, is there anyone online or anyone else in the audience that wants to talk about something that's not particularly on the agenda? Nope. All right, so next we have 3 minutes that have been prepared. We have the minutes, first of April 25th, 2024. Does anyone feel we need a discussion? Nope. Could I therefore have a motion to approve the minutes of April 25th, 2024? So moved. Second? Second. All in favor? 2, 3, 5, 6, 0, 0, that passes. We have the draft minutes of May 9, 2024. Do we need any discussion on that one? Nope. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 9, 2024, please?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Passes by 5. Did you vote for it?
Oh, yeah, yes. Sorry.
6-0-0. Thank you. Okay, that passes. Now we have the draft minutes of May 23rd, 2024. Any discussion needed? Nope. Motion to pass, please? You abstain. So move. Second? Okay, all in favor? 5-0-1.
I can't vote, I wasn't here.
4-0-2. Okay, got it.
You can vote for minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were supposed to recuse yourself unless you'd listened to the entire video, which I confess I have not. Should have.
Well, I think you can vote for minutes, but if you prefer, that's completely fine.
I will note one thing on minutes too, like on one of the other boards I'm on, they have, the chair of that one actually last year put something in place, it's called a consent agenda, or consent vote, where you could just vote them all, so you don't have to individually vote them. I can get some more info for you if you want from.
You can, but it's rare that we have.
Yeah, I just
It's rare that we have
no.
3 in a row.
Yep.
Because usually Tom is keeping on top of
Yep.
this.
Okay, so we're all set? Okay. All right, next. All right, so let's see. Does someone have the notice? I forgot to bring them.
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't get a printed one?
I didn't get a printed
Lisa
one.
was sure you.
And I didn't print out the ones you sent. I forgot.
Okay. No, I have it in my, in my folder, I think. Let me just, did you want me to pop it up on the screen then?
You can pop it up. I'm not sure I can read it, but you can pop it up.
Can anyone tell me if we're still having a meeting?
Oh, I guess he couldn't hear us anymore. Is that Dale again? Okay, let me expand the video panel to view. Oh, sorry, I was sharing. Stop sharing, first of all. Let me connect to the. No, that shouldn't be it.
Can he hear us?
What's his name?
Dale.
Dale, can you hear us? Well, this is not good.
No, it's not. I have no idea what is wrong, because he said earlier he could hear.
This is Dale. I heard somebody.
He muted himself.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
I think he only heard it when you turned when you spoke through your computer, because when I spoke through my computer, he heard me earlier.
That's not how it's supposed to be. See, because that will work.
All right, why don't you-
Oh, no.
Okay, what are we going to do about the notices, too?
Dale, can you hear us now?
He's muted.
Okay, oh, I think you can. Sorry, I think it was just a stupid Eileen mistake. Let me try again. I'm going to share the, whatever it's called.
Notice.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just getting myself all wound up.
I printed out everything I needed except that.
No, I'm just sharing the wrong thing entirely. What the heck even is that? That's not my screen.
We get the movie.
That's not even on my screen. Okay, that's just weird.
Danger. I have a picture of your screen.
Can you see the legal notice?
No, I can see plans for something.
Oh, no, I see what that is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
No, it's there. It's just, clearly I'm just having a hard time today.
all right, so why don't I just paraphrase it?
No, it's right here now. Just took me a long time. Notice hereby given that the Town of Burlington Commission will hold a public meeting in the main hearing room at Town Hall, Centre Street. Do you normally read the whole thing? At
Yeah, why
6:30
don't-
PM?
Bill has it here.
Okay.
Okay, we can go now. Notice is given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting during which time we will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Olivia LaRoe Sharif for proposed patio expansion and stormwater improvements within the riverfront area and 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands and stream bank. The property is located at 72 Wilmington Road, and we will thereafter, after hearing it, issue a determination. The application's being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14, and you may obtain a copy of the application by writing to conservation@burlington.org. Okay, so is there someone here for 72 Wilmington Road?
Olivia jumped off again. Maybe she was, don't blame her if all this time they couldn't hear us. How about I start it off?
Okay, why don't you tell us, well, we're out there, so why don't you tell us what's going on?
We were. Okay, so no, that's the actual RDA. I want the plan. Oh, it was on the back of the plan. Silly me. It's not my day today, is it? So Olivia and her family purchased the house at 72 Wilmington Road early last year. They realized it was in the, sorry, let me just open this up and then I'll speak. How does that work? They discovered it was in the house is in the inner riparian, so any work that was happening was going to have to go through conservation approvals. They wanted to expand their patio a few weeks ago, and they were somewhat reluctant to wait. So we let them go ahead with the patio works, and it's, ultimately it was just a patio. They also had a proposal to do some to attempt some drainage improvement work at the front where they park their cars, because they get a lot of water from the road, and they were trying to deal with that. They have a drain but the drain itself, the trench drain is too high to deal with that water. So what they wanted to do was expand their patio at the back and add gravel and an extra pipe into the area that they park around at the front yard, and connect that into an existing storm drain and chamber that's in the backyard, which overflows further back towards the stream.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, the existing drain in front of the house is not working because it's too high.
Right.
So it's basically just ponding water in the driveway, is what's happening.
Right, so one correction to just make to this is, she might pop back on again, is it says on her diagram that the patio is 7 feet by 22. It's not, they were adding 7 or 8 feet onto the existing.
Okay.
So it was becoming a bit closer to the stream. It's maybe something like 17 or 18 feet in width by whatever, 25 or something. They were adding some, those were the additional numbers.
Okay.
Anyway,
So do you have any concerns about this project, given relative to the resource areas?
well, I personally don't, I'm not a fan of sort of this creeping, incremental increases in impervious close to a stream. On the other hand, it's just a patio, and it's just to try and make their living space more accessible. If you remember, she actually came to you with an informal discussion last year before she put a lot of money into designing an addition to see if you would actually look favorably upon that. So they do have more plans to expand, which is what I was saying about my concerns about incremental increases in impervious. It is just a patio, however.
All right, so the patio is done.
Patio is done.
The work that remains,
I do not have any issue, though, however, with their drainage situation, because if they're getting water off the road, they need to do something about it.
Right.
It's a pretty messy situation.
right, and it's all, and the drainage work is in front of the fence.
The drainage is in front of the fence.
It's in front of the fence, and the resource area is in the backyard beyond the fence. Okay, so that's kind of
They
the
would definitely be
situation.
adding water, which is going through the yard. We weren't sure where the outfall was, but
Right, okay. And they're tying into the pipe that actually crosses the fence and goes into the infiltration area. Okay? So, I don't know if we can answer, but Ed, any questions on this?
No, everything pretty much existing, he's just improving it.
Okay, Rob, anything further? Nope. Bill, did you have anything?
So this patio is not pervious,
correct.
because it looks like just stones.
Oh, still, are you,
It looks like patio blocks put together. I'm seeing the new one, yeah, like pictures that...
well, they are blocks.
Is it on a concrete base, or is it just sand between them?
I would assume it's sand or something underneath.
Yeah,
They didn't
right.
tell
It
me.
may have some pervious to it. And then the drainage ditch that they put in, it connects to an underground infiltration chamber?
That is the plan. The pipe, they have not yet connected, but yes, that is the plan.
Pipe is there.
And is the chamber big enough to handle this additional?
The chamber, I'm actually not sure how big the chamber is. This is something that the person who redeveloped, sort of remodeled the house, put in some kind of a chamber, which is probably just a dry well. It's definitely not very big, but it's, I think that they needed a pretty quick fix to the fact that that some water from the roadway was getting onto their property.
Okay.
Until something maybe more permanent can be done by the town, if at all.
Okay, so in the worst case, it'll just overflow that when it rains heavy
Yeah.
and get it out of the driveway and further back in the yard.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Kent, anything? Sarah, anything?
Nothing.
Yeah, the issue here is that the amount of water, part of the water is actually coming in from the street. That's the problem. And I suggested that a very light berm to hold back some of the water keep it in the municipals, keep the street water in the street, might be in their interest.
I think that would be.
Yeah.
Is the underground chamber big enough to take the street water? And isn't the street water...
If it's not, it's going to overflow into the stream, but the real fix is to reduce the amount of water going into their driveway area from the street.
Sarah, you're right. It's not very clean water, but,
You do?
It's getting in there anyways.
sorry, what?
It's currently getting in there anyways. the street water.
Right.
Yeah, it's at least getting into their yard. Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think they're online, so I think we might as well go to the draft.
I will. I thought I had all of my, no, that's the legal notice. Okay. That's all right. I'm fine.
Okay. I have a paper copy here if you want it.
No, I just thought I had them all in one spot, because I always do. I just didn't put them. Okay. We will find it right now. Wilmington. Okay. So we have a draft decision, which is what I assumed Larry meant for me to share. Let me make that bigger for everybody watching. The applicant expanded an existing patio in the rear, approximately 35 feet from a stream, added stone at the front drive area, enclosing the pipe connecting to the existing stormwater chamber. The work was located within riverfront area to a stream, which is the headwaters of the Ipswich River. The filing was retroactive as the conservation staff allowed the patio installation and runoff mitigation work to proceed, provided an application was submitted and erosion controls were installed. The patio was approximately 35 feet from the stream, while the drainage work was approximately 65 feet from the stream. The commission is voting to waive the no-build setback, as this work was not deemed to have an adverse impact on the stream on site and its associated interests. This decision is only for the work we just described this evening. They already did put sediment wattles down, but they've already taken them up. No removal of trees or shrub alteration of naturally vegetated areas is permitted by this decision. All construction and demolition materials and excavated soil should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed. The roadway needs to be kept clean. No filling or grading of the property under this decision. And the rest is just about how we can visit, just to make sure that these conditions have been fulfilled.
All right. Anyone on the commission have anything to add? They only needed a few conditions on this one.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we need a waiver of the no-build zone because the patio goes a few feet into it, correct?
Yes. Sorry. I
The addition,
forgot that. Yes,
the
it
addition
does.
to the patio.
Yes.
Could I have a motion to waive the 5-foot intrusion of the expanded patio into the no-build zone under Burlington Bylaw Article 14? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, that's 600. Could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and State Wetlands Protection Act for the project as described at 72 Wilmington Road? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Same vote, 600. Okay, well, even though we don't see them here, they should be pleased that it was taken care of. Okay? All right. Okay, you want to put up the next one? And I'll read it off of Bill's if
Oh,
he's okay.
sorry,
Yep, yep.
the
If you share that.
legal ad. Yes, I will. 17 A Street, on the way. Okay.
Okay, notice is given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting during which time we have a request for determination of applicability filed by 15-17 A Street LLC for the proposed construction of a play area within the riverfront area at 17 A Street in Burlington, and will thereafter, we will issue a determination. The application is being heard pursuant to the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. And like the last one, you can obtain a copy of this application by writing to conservation@burlington.org. Someone here for 17 A Street.
Yes, this is Dale McKinnon from Gary and Holman, representing the applicant for this location.
All right, and thank you. Would you like to say a few words before we go further?
Sure. What we're proposing is no change in drainage. There's an existing pavement area The proposal is to put 50 by 24 area. Am I coming through or am I breaking up?
You're breaking up a little.
A little, but we can hear you.
Okay, so a 24 by 50 foot, 1,200 square foot AstroTurf area. It's in that between the two buildings. And they're proposing to put a fence around it, and the planning board has asked for bollards on that one end where there could be traffic. It's a loss in 4 parking spaces, but as I said, there's no change in drainage. The only excavation would be probably augering that would be done for the fence post and for the bollards.
Okay, and to be clear, you are putting in some type of artificial AstroTurf of something?
That's correct.
All right. All right, so Eileen, would you
Yep.
like to give us a summary of any concerns?
Okay, so as Dale explained, this is a proposal to lay down some AstroTurf to provide a play area, surround that AstroTurf with fence, and then there's also a sort of imposed requirement to put some bollards up. The resource areas are, as you can see on the drawings that I'm sharing, this is right on top of, this is very close to Vine Brook. The work would be just about in the 100-foot, the inner 100-foot riparian to Vine Brook. I don't have particular concerns about it, but I do have a couple of questions for Dale that I would like to get clarification on, which is, how does, do you have to put something down to connect your AstroTurf? Is there any drainage for the AstroTurf? How does it get connected? Does it just get like pinned in place by the fence? I wasn't clear about that. Can you give us a better description about how it's put in place?
My end, the client hasn't discussed that with me. I don't know if they're online. I believe it's just a material. There'd have to be some kind of a material in between the AstroTurf and the pavement itself. I'm sorry, is this?
So,
Yes.
So I mean, it's relatively porous. So what happens when it gets wet? Does it just?
Yeah, it's not a porous type situation, but it would drain off as similar grades to the pavement itself.
So there's nothing underneath, like sand, or you don't prepare the substrate?
No, my understanding, though, they were just putting it on top of the pavement. I don't know. I would think there'd be some kind of a cushioning below it, but other than that, I do not know.
So Eileen,
Yep.
how are they going to prevent mold from accumulating if it's completely wet all the time underneath there?
Well, I have no idea. That's what I was asking for the explanation for. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. So this is also floodplain, which is part of why I'm concerned, because this would be, I apologize for missing that. This would be filling floodplain.
So it could be,
So if it really is just like a half an inch, I'm not concerned about that. That's a de minimis fill. But I would like to be clearer on whether there's going to be excavation in order to attach the
it sounds like they're going to
Mat.
take some kind of a green outdoor carpet almost, and just lay it down.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah, they just put it
Okay.
on a rug.
But we all know what would happen to a carpet that you left outside. It would be kind of yucky.
It'll be in the
For a while,
sun.
and you
Well,
look
it's
underneath.
made of plastic, basically.
It'll be in the sun, too.
Yeah.
I think. I'm looking up how to install AstroTurf on concrete, and it says, install a foam underlay,
What's an underlay in that case?
Like a rug pad.
a foam pad underneath
Just
it.
pad, okay.
Yeah.
And then that foam pad drains? I mean, none of us are
It
experts.
says here you can add air drain tiles or PDS tiles to help with drainage and prevent mold, mildew, and bacteria. And
All right,
secure it
so-
with glue or nails and spikes. So we need a little more info.
Well, I did ask them by email.
All right, so,
Dale, who's installing it?
I'm sorry, say again?
Who is installing it?
I do not know.
Who's Dale?
Who does-
I'm not sure that anyone's been hired at this time, I'm not sure.
And is Dale representing the people renting? Is that?
Dale,
Yeah.
can you tell us who you are again, please?
Yes, we're Dale McKinnon from Gary and Holland. We're a civil engineering firm. We provided the drawing for the Montessori.
All right, well, let's see if the other commissioners have comments or concerns with what we've heard so far. Sarah?
I'm just looking at Home Depot, how to install AstroTurf or artificial grass, and there's quite a lot of steps to it involving some debris removal.
Okay.
I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of
Okay, well,
unknowns.
obviously, we can't assimilate that right real time. Kent, anything more?
Is it, do we know it's like a daycare? Like, what is this actual site?
Yeah, it's Montessori school.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
small kids.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have some more questions about like drainage and all that. Like,
Okay. Let me go off to Ed. Anything, Ed, further?
No, it just seemed like, I didn't feel it's gonna be there a long time, you know, it's renting right now in that space. I don't think if he wants to go ahead and do it, that's fine, I don't think he should be there long.
Who's not going to be there, Ryan?
Using it as a nursery, if you may.
Well, I don't know if we can count on that, though.
That's it.
It's a Montessori school, right?
All right.
We can't say anything wrong with it, it's just kind of unusual.
Rob?
Yeah, not much. I was thinking at first, is it, could it be for dogs? But yeah, if it's for kids, then yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah, quite a bit different. But I was just from play area, I wasn't sure. It was like,
Okay.
you know,
Bill?
Yeah, I don't, it doesn't sound like Mr. McKinnon knows exactly what his client is doing here, so I don't know how he can represent that this is adequate. I mean, I have no idea what the steps are, what the process is, what's underneath it, how it's fastened, how it's not going to grow mold. I mean, we need more information.
And my concern is if there's no drainage and it's wet all the time and it gets very moldy under there and you're going to put kids on it, is that a health hazard?
Well, I mean, I assume they've looked into that.
How?
Well, they have to show us. They have to show us.
Dale McKinnon again. I mean, this is a plastic covering essentially, so I don't envision the undergarment getting damp and wet as you suggested. So the intention is the stormwater would roll same as underneath.
So the turf itself is not
No
porous.
change, there should be no change, or there will be no change in the stormwater runoff from the site.
We're not just talking about stormwater, this is also in the floodplain, so I also have to make sure that you're not filling floodplain, and which is why we asked about whether how the installation actually works.
And we're dealing with a fabric that's, less than a quarter of an inch thick. We're not dealing with a filling of a floodplain situation.
All right, I'll comment. I am not concerned with the probable amount of filling. It looks pretty small. I am concerned, though, it's in a floodplain, water will get under there, at least that way, okay? And it's a big enough area, it's not going to be a continuous sheet like off a roll, off a 12-foot roll. It's not going to be a 50-foot across sheet or something like that. It's going to have seams.
Right.
It's following the same contours of the existing pavement, so it will follow those same contours.
Okay.
But water is going to get underneath, maybe through the seams or through flooding.
For the edges, yeah.
Okay, but it's not going to change the elevations.
It's not going to, no, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about it turning into mold and not improper installation, is what we have here.
Okay?
I would actually add, if it's really so very thin that it constitutes no fill, it's also very hard. Maybe not the greatest use case for kids running and playing. I mean, is it any better than playing in a hot tub?
Well, the one thing I read said you put a pad under it. So if there's a pad under it, then it's better for the kids, for
Better
impact.
for the kids, maybe
Yeah.
not so great for the mold.
Right.
All right, I think we need more information, because when someone presents a project, you want it to be presented as being installed correctly.
Okay.
Is that my wrong?
Nope, no, you're right.
But it obviously be installed correctly. It will be, there'll be a manufacturer's requirement to meet for this installation. You can make that as part of the, the requirement of this issue. I don't see that as a big item nowhere with this.
All right. All right, so what's the sense of the commission? Do we want to move forward and just let them put up this plastic sheet down, even though Sarah tells us there is a proper way of installing this?
Home Depot says.
Home Depot says. Okay.
Well, he did say it would be installed per the manufacturer's requirements.
Okay, well, then I think we could approve it, subject to them submitting the manufacturer's requirements for installation. How does that sound?
That's fine. That's fine.
Why don't we do that?
Definitely.
Okay, so I think we have a plan forward, Mr. McKinnon.
Okay.
Okay, so the work will not proceed until you submit to the office the manufacturer's installation requirements that you're going to follow.
Absolutely.
I do have a determination, though, if we just want to, we can share it and just add that right to it,
Okay?
okay?
Sound
Would
good?
you like me to do that?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so the applicant proposed to install approximately 1,200 square feet of AstroTurf over existing asphalt surface, a 4-foot-high vinyl-coated chain link fence surrounding the play area, and 6 4-foot-tall bollards 5 feet in front of the southwestern fence. The work was in the riverfront area of Vinebrook, the 100-foot buffer to bank bordering vegetated wetlands, and within bordering land subject to flooding, also known as the 100-year floodplain. Most of the property is within the floodplain. No increase in impervious area was proposed. No improvements to riverfront area were proposed. For the purpose of this filing, the Commission did not formally approve the exact boundaries of the wetland resources on site. All work was within the existing parking lot. The closest work was approximately 90 feet from Vinebrook. I did put in the note that the fire department is requiring the bollards as a safety measure, but the Commission is finding that the amount of flow plain created by both the bollards and the AstroTurf is negligible and will not cause an increase nor contribute incrementally to an increase in the horizontal extent and level of floodwaters during peak flows. This decision would be only for the work as described here. They would put up sediment barriers between the stream and the work area to be inspected by conservation staff. And then we would also say prior to construction, the applicant will provide, what did we say? Just the manufacturer, details of the installation per manufacturer's instructions? Something like
Yes.
that?
And we should also put in a requirement that since he's representing their client, that he will give us a note at the end of the project that it was installed according to those.
I can certify that if you'd like.
That's
Perfect.
perfect.
And applicant to certify at the end. Sorry, this is terrible typing, but I'll fix it tomorrow. I'm just getting it in there so I remember. Any excavated pavement, soil, or other debris shall be disposed of in a legal manner. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if it does, keep the roadways clean. No dewatering on site until the Commission has reviewed and approved a dewatering plan. No filling or
Right.
grading of the property under this decision. Any other future exterior construction on this site that involves land disturbance, changes to pavement, or vegetation management shall require a new filing with the Commission. And then just members of the Commission or their representatives shall just check on site to make sure this is all being adhered to.
Right.
Provide details reinstallation. It's supposed to be manufacturers. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else from the commission on this? Hearing none, could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the project described at 17 A Street under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, and the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? 600, it passes. Okay, I think you're all set, Mr. McKinnon.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Okay, next we have a notice of intent. Would you share that notice, Eileen?
Yes, of course.
I was trying to call up the
Sure.
notice, but I was unsuccessful.
You're trying to what, sir? Do you want your board? No, that's okay. Okay, here it is. Allergies are killing me.
All right, notice is hereby given, the Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting during which time, where this will be a hearing to take all information related to a notice of intent filed by Christopher Tedesco for the proposed construction of a shed at 10 McCarthy Drive in Burlington. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands and the riverfront area of a locally regulated stream pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. The commission will be reviewing all information relative to this application and may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington Wetlands permit for this proposed project. The application material is available on the Conservation website by following the link that is posted there. Okay, so we're set. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Excuse me, Maureen Harold, North Environmental.
All
With
right.
me tonight. I gotta get some water. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
It's all right,
No worries.
we can use a break anyway.
So far, nothing has gone according to plan.
Well,
One of those days.
Right.
oh, now really?
Oh, yeah.
Now I've just lost my plan.
Okay, so we have, is this one?
Okay, McCarthy Drive.
Yes. My apologies.
Not a problem.
Have been awful. So with me tonight is Mr. Tedesco,
Yes.
homeowner of the property. What we'd like to do is construct a shed on a concrete slab. We're proposing that 21.7 feet from the bank of a jurisdictional bylaw perennial stream. We are proposing rooftop infiltration to provide some mitigation for this work within the local riverfront area, as well as some native plantings as well. The shed itself will be put on a slab. We're not proposing to cut any trees or shrubs or anything of that nature. This area is completely cleared. It's quite limited as in terms of where we can site the shed. We have a 20-foot wide utility easement on the property. We have another easement, gas transmission line easement, as well as we're required to meet the setbacks for the side yard, rear yard setbacks in that location. We are proposing erosion controls, and I can open it up to the commission with any questions or concerns.
All right, thank you. Okay. Eileen, any summary for us?
Maureen's summary was perfect. Mr. Tedesco's property shape is kind of weird. Sorry.
How dare you?
It's kind of weird. So that he's got this weird kind of, it's almost a bow tie kind of shape, which would make it rather tricky to get into this shed. As Maureen described, there is a stream that's actually on the regulatory streams map, extending out through most of the property. I do have two questions.
Sure.
One is that the notice of intent described that the stormwater would be infiltrated on site. I'm not sure how. Is it just like on the grass? And then the other one was about the plantings, and I just want to know what the plantings are.
So we are proposing a 1 foot wide, 1 foot deep infiltration trench around the entire perimeter of the shed, just to provide some infiltration for the structure itself. In terms of the plantings, we're proposing 4 native plantings. I don't specify the species. Wanted to give my client a little flexibility in terms of what he can possibly find for plantings that are available, but for native shrub plants.
Okay, and the location for those?
They're shown on the plan, so it's the northerly side of the proposed shed,
Yes.
closer to the resource area.
Oh, yes, I see it. Okay, got it, okay.
And, sorry, just before you start your discussion, I forgot to say, it's also, the Marion Road Conservation Area is actually surrounding quite a chunk of this property. So there's some wetland on there, but otherwise it's just nice open woodlands. Open woodlands, can you say open woodlands? Is that an oxymoron? Anyway, it's a lovely property.
Yes, it is. Okay. Sarah, anything on this one?
I'm trying to understand where the stream is flowing in this picture. You don't have to like walk across the stream to get to the shed, right?
So the short answer is no. The stream begins around 5B, 6B, that's shown on the plan. There's
Okay.
a culvert there. And then it flows to the north, off-site, and continues off-site. So there's an upland area between the property line and that culvert itself. Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So essentially, it's draining Bedford Street.
Yeah, there's actually a sewer pipe buried in the ground that starts the stream nicely inside the lot. So,
Oh,
It's
okay.
not, it's
Hopefully not
a, well,
sewer.
it's not sewer, no.
well, it's a concrete pipe underground.
It's an underground streamy
Yes.
thing? Okay. It just emerges at that point and then flows? So
Well,
Exactly.
I've done some
you'd be able to like
research on it.
drive your big lawnmower or whatever you're going to store in the shed without worrying about taking it through with it?
You can see the access on the second picture to the right.
Right.
It's sort of in, do you see where I'm wiggling?
Yes,
little-
yeah.
Sort of in there. He
Okay.
does have some space. If I go back to the other, I'll just show you where that is. So here, that is that space there. What's it, maybe 20 feet across, 15?
Yes.
Roughly.
I mean, if you absolutely wanted, you could possibly drive it, but he has no intention of doing so.
Okay.
Will not be accessing it by vehicle.
Okay, I just thought maybe you need like a little footbridge or something. And-
All right. Kent, anything on this?
No, pretty straight.
All right. Ed?
No, it's my kind of property. I think they've addressed everything, gas lines, boundaries. I don't see any issue.
Okay. Rob?
Nope.
Bill?
I didn't get to visit, so I didn't get to see the property, so I was looking at the drawing, I couldn't figure out where the house was or where the...
House is right here.
Okay, so
Okay.
where's the river?
And the river comes underground, it daylights here,
Underground.
and you can walk dry land like this to get there.
Okay, so now I get it.
Okay.
It's underground and then daylights. So,
So it daylights in through here, and this is all the wetland,
okay,
because the stream is open right here, and it keeps on going.
all right,
So,
now I understand.
now, this is kind of a situation where they have so many constraints with
Yeah.
setbacks and outside the easement, there is absolutely no other place that this could go on the property.
Okay, but this is a substantial shed with a concrete foundation, so it's going to require a building permit?
Yes.
Correct, that's what put us
So
here.
it will require waivers then?
Yes.
Yes. And it's the size of a small house.
In the Midwest, maybe.
What?
A small house in the Midwest, I would say.
All right, small house in the Midwest, that's right. Well, I don't know, 35 feet by 16, that's quite the shed.
Maybe more of like a mobile home.
Yes.
Barn.
So if you get kicked out of your house, you have a place to go.
That's right.
I'm not going to reveal anything here, so.
Okay. The only question I have is, I guess this is to you, Maureen, is the 4 shrubs that you're putting in front or on the side of the proposed shed, would it be more useful? Is there any area along the wetlands where that daylights to do any plantings instead? In other words, this is sort of like in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, relative to, resource areas that we look at. So I'm just wondering, could we take those 4? Is there some place that it would be useful to plant them through the wetland area, or it's pretty thick there? I'm not sure.
We can certainly change the location. My thought was I didn't want to put them in the easement because the gas company and the utility easement have the right to go on the property and cut all the vegetation. So I didn't want to put it in those easements because it'd just be wasted money.
Well, supposedly they won't cut if it's not going to grow higher than so many feet.
Yeah.
Supposedly. I'm not sure they adhere to that, though. It's like 15 feet or something, and when you look at what the utility companies do along the right-of-way, I don't think they pay any attention to that. It doesn't appear that they pay any attention to that regulation. Well, it seems like they really, but I'm not,
We could certainly put it along the tree line, along the northerly side where wetland flag 6C, 7C is. My memory is that's kind of on the edge of the woods, but we could certainly relocate it closer to the wetland in that area.
well, I would not object to that, but I think that's the kind of decision for 4 shrubs that, I mean, Eileen, you could go out there and,
Well, I've been there, I kind of like the idea of putting the shrubs near the building.
well,
A little
that's fine.
extra greenery near there, and I fully understand their issue about the easement. I do.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this is not one way or the other.
Right.
I just thought I'd mention it. If there's some place that needed more greenery to support the wetland, then we could take this opportunity to do it, was only the thinking. All right, so I guess we're leaving it where it is unless somebody else has an issue with it. All right, so this is a hearing. As you know, we typically, well, let me ask, is there anybody in the audience, either online or in this room, that would like to comment on 10 McCarthy Drive? No. All right, so I haven't heard of, is there anything these people need to provide to us before the next meeting?
I didn't take any notes either for that. They actually did just today get their DEP number, I think.
Yes, we
However,
received the DEP file.
We do generally have a policy of not issuing on the night we open. It gives people, gives neighbors a chance to look at things since it is a notice of intent.
Right. All right, so what it looks like is that at the next meeting, you don't have to provide anything. We will just close the hearing, issue any waivers, and take a vote at that time. And that would be it. I think you're all set.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, do you think it's necessary for us to attend the hearing?
My reaction is probably no. That would be my reaction, but
I would agree. If we're all happy with the plan as is, and it's really kind of a formality, I think it's fine if they don't.
I just want to save my clients some money. It can go towards the shrubs or the shed.
Right.
Better
I'll
spent
come. It's
that
free
way.
for me to come, so I'll
that's,
be here.
Okay, well,
that's great. You're very thoughtful.
we'll be there himself.
Appreciate that, by the way. Thank you.
All right, sounds great. Thank you both.
Thank you for your time.
Sure. All right, so. Okay, next on the agenda is item number 6, a continued public hearing. This one is for 21 Geddick Road for CNT Property Investment, Tamara Martins. Demolish a single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling. It does have a DEP number 122-706. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Tamara Martins.
Take a vote to continue the last one?
Yes, look, 1 second.
Sure thing.
Could I have a motion?
Sorry, Bill, I'm so glad you're on top of that.
Yes, could I have a motion to continue
Yes, thank you.
continue the hearing for 10 McCarthy Drive to our next meeting of June 27th? Second?
Second.
All in favor? 600. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you.
No worries.
So please introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself and who you're affiliated with, and you can talk if you'd like.
Sure. Good night, I'm Tamara Martins, and I'm the builder and the owner of 21 Geddick Road, and we filed a notice of intent, and we were here on the last meeting, and hopefully we can close it tonight.
Okay. Eileen, is there an update since our last meeting for these people? There were a few questions that we had, and they answered them.
They did. They came back to, actually, let me share the plan.
Yes.
Where is your plan?
Our engineer, Kevin, is also online.
Kevin's also-
Yeah,
right.
Kevin Keddy's online too.
Well, Kevin might want to just give a very quick summary,
Sure.
if he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Commission. So I'm Kevin Queddy with Boston Civil. We did revise the plans. One of the issues that came up at the last meeting was it is a local regulatory stream on the north side of the property. So we did add in the 200-foot buffer. We also added in a new post and rail fence for permanent demarcation, about 10 feet from the edge of the bank, and included 9 high bush blueberry shrubs grouped in 3 areas. That doesn't appear to be the latest plan.
That was not your most up-to-date plan. Was that Kevin just saying that?
Yeah.
That Eileen-
Yeah, that's correct.
That's not the latest version.
No, I've got it right here.
And then some additional, we added a bit more stone around the perimeter of the infiltration system. We added a crown, in the driveway with crushed stone strips on each side. And that's approximately it. Sorry, I have a cough this evening.
Not a problem. Okay, and you answered the question about the soil. There was some question about the soils.
Yes, I believe that was a clarification from last time due to the connection.
Right.
But essentially what I was saying was we did model the site as soil group A, even though there was fill present. And essentially I used a conservative Rawls rate for my infiltration system.
All right, all right, so Eileen, are you all set with?
I am. I think they provided everything that we required. They are, I mean, it's a pretty bare site, so they're not removing any trees. They are removing the pool, so the rest will be grassed, and they have added a post and rail fence and a few shrubs at the back. So I am satisfied with everything they provided.
All right, let's see if there's anything else. Ed, anything on this one, 21 Geddick?
Nothing.
Rob, anything further? Sarah?
Nope.
And Kent? Bill?
No, they addressed all of our concerns. Thank you.
Okay, and Eileen, was any improvement needed for the riverfront at all?
They provided the shrubs, and they put a fence. We said 10 to 15 feet, and they put it at 10 feet. So they're allowing that 10-foot strip
To revegetate?
to revegetate naturally. And I think that counts towards the improvement.
I think that sounds good,
Yeah.
right?
There's no gate to the fence, so nobody should be able to access the back unless they hop back there, but hopefully they leave it alone.
Right. You can't always count on it, but you can try, we can try.
We could try.
But
Right.
you can't get a lawnmower in there, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave 'em out
exactly.
there.
Exactly. All right, appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
So you don't have any remaining concerns?
Nope, and as long as you're okay with 10 feet.
Yeah.
We did say 10 to 15. We didn't demand 20, so
No,
that's
we're
what
not.
they gave.
We don't demand, we ask. We try to be nice about it. Okay. Could you have, and this is a hearing, so is there anyone here for 21 Geddick that would like to say anything further? In the audience? No. So you have draft documents?
I do.
And do
I
we,
sent them to you earlier, right?
You did, yeah.
Oh, just
Yeah, we
things
revised
were
them.
not happening. Yes, I forgot. And in fact, Kevin made some changes. I had like some tweaks to the plan set, so I left that in here. That's what we're sharing tonight.
okay.
So a notice of intent bylaw application was filed for the demolition of an existing dwelling and pool and construction of a new single-family dwelling within the riverfront area of a regulatory stream, which is a tributary to Lover's Brook. The project also included installing an infiltration system, grading around the house, and planting of 9 native shrubs within the riverfront area. The drainage system and some of the grading was within the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. Then we went through the filing history. So Kevin edited my plan references just to explain that they were prepared by Boston Civil, and one extra and signed, and some tweaks that Bill usually catches. Then the proposed work would be within the riverfront area pursuant to Burlington
I just
bylaw
got something.
Article
I just
14.
got something as a-
Another one.
It says the wetland report for 29 Geddick Road.
Oh,
What I'm sharing here says
different?
he
Oh, he fixed
changed it to.
You got that one already?
He
Okay,
caught
I'm
that
not
one.
looking at that. I'm
That's
looking at
what, that's what I mean.
Okay.
21. 29 we had done a few months ago. The closest point of the dwelling would be about approximately 101 feet from the stream. And BVW, the stormwater infiltration chamber would be approximately 80 feet from the stream, and BVW, native plants would be planted within 10 feet of the bank. It is exempt from the stormwater regulations as it's a single-family home. However, they are infiltrating approximately 60% of the rooftop area into a very large Cultec chamber, and infiltrating the driveway into 2 stone trenches, one on either side of it. And erosion sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction. Other findings was that the pool had been about, well, it's still there, 70 feet from the stream, while the closest part of the new house was approximately 100 feet from the stream. The bylaw regulations require improvements through the riverfront area when redeveloping in the riverfront area, and the applicant did so by planting shrubs in a riverfront, and the commission is waiving the requirement for an alternatives analysis, since the stream is jurisdictional only under the bylaw, and there's no other feasible location for the new dwelling that would be further from the stream. This will also serve as a permit under the stormwater bylaw, which Tamara is also familiar with. We go on to the order. So the order contains the same edits to the stormwater plans that Kevin caught earlier today, so those will go into the final version. All of the first several conditions are standard ones. We're saying the order permits work within the 100-foot buffer zone to BBW and within the 200-foot riverfront area bylaw jurisdiction only. No work within any other wetland resources being allowed. Going down to pre-construction conditions, we are requiring you to contact the staff prior to beginning of construction. We'll review this in the field. We'll look at the erosion controls, which must be a wattle plus a silt fence. The fact that we'll see that you filed the order at the Registry of Deeds. You'll need your DEP number on site and anything else that's necessary. Materials shall not be stockpiled on the site within 50 feet of the wetlands or stream and not within 20 feet of the street. And generally, these ones are all about keeping the site fairly clean and keeping runoff off the street. Going down to work involving filling and grading, no additional grading beyond what's shown in the approved plan shall be permitted without further approval. Pollution control conditions are all absolutely standard about keeping the area clean. Anything that falls into the wetlands or stream shall be picked out, and no dumping shall occur into the stream or wetlands. This condition is a perpetual one. No pesticides, herbicides, fungicides shall be used within 100 feet of the wetlands. The stormwater management conditions are that rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated into the Cultec chamber and the driveway into the 18 by 18 stone trenches. The applicant shall provide the new buyers with a copy of the O&M plan that was provided in the stormwater report. No tree removals, under riverfront area enhancements, no tree removals are permitted by this decision. The scrap lumber and debris that was visible near the stream bank shall be cleared by hand. A post and rail fence shall be installed 10 feet from the stream bank. That area shall be allowed to revegetate naturally, apart from the plantings identified in condition 49, which are the 9 high bush blueberry, and any alternatives. Just go through us to choose an alternative, and then how you go about requesting a certificate of compliance.
Okay, thank you. Sarah or Kent, any changes? All right, Bill?
Nope.
How about Rob or Ed? Okay, so I think the first item of business is to have a motion to waive the requirement for alternative analysis since the house and the project is located as far back from the riverfront area. So we are waiving, seeking a motion to waive the alternative analysis.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Kent?
Discussion? All in favor? 600. That's all set.
Do we get a waiver for the 20-foot no disturb since they're planting within the 20-foot shrubs?
I suppose, just to be on the safe side, we
hurt.
should. Yep.
Can I have a motion to, a waiver to allow the planting in the 20-foot no disturb zone for the purposes of planting? Second? All in favor? 600. Can I have a motion to close the hearing for 21 Geddick Road, DEP file number 122-706?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Again, same vote. Could I have a motion to issue the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 21 Geddick Road for DEP file number 122-706?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Same vote. Could I have a motion to issue the conditions for the permit under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act for 21 Geddick Road for DEP file number 122-706? Second? All in favor? 600. And there is a suggested requirement for performance surety of $3,500. Could I have a motion to require the posting of $3,500 performance surety under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 21 Geddick Road for DEP file number 122-706?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Does anyone have a question on the amount? All in favor? 600. All those motions, say we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commission. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, 21, okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Hey, why didn't you remind me?
All right.
Should be.
Okay, next. We have a continued public hearing. This is notice of intent. This one is 73 Wynn Street by David Sassiola Sr., if I got that right, demolish a single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling. It does have a DEP number, 122-705. It's 73 Wynn Street. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Please.
Record. My name is Chris Mello, Eastern Land Survey, Dave Cassiola, the applicant. Thank you for having us back.
Good to see you. You're our guest, so you get to talk first.
Okay. Since our last meeting, some requests were made, and on May 14th, I resubmitted plans, Ms. Coleman, with 9 changes, which I can just quickly say that the proposed driveway from the proposed dwelling to the garage is crushed stone. We're removing paving to Winfield Ave with lumen seed. We added 2 no disturbance signs at the 20-foot buffer zone. We're removing the elevated corrugated pipe that everybody's seen. It sort of looks like a, I don't know what it looks like. It looks odd. Off the plan, we're going to remove the debris from the resource area and the buffer zone, and I put a note to that effect. We're going to remove the donut/fire pit/ whatever that thing is. We're not sure, but we're going to take it out and get rid of it.
Okay.
There was a specimen tree that was asked to be added to the plan, which we have put on the plan. It is out of the area of construction and will remain and is not in any danger. We noted the impervious coverage to reflect the narrative, and a note to reconstruct the orifice catch basin inlet at the end of that pipe that sticks up into the sky, sort of to a grade that is suitable. Since all that was submitted, the commission asked that we do our soil test pits, which we had hoped to put off to a later date. And because we had the test pit next door, we did 4 test pits, and we're very happy that we had the same soil and the same water table, which meant that our stormwater functions and the design was not changed. Today, or in the last couple of days, we received a couple of things from Eileen. And one of them is a talk about the stormwater drainage from the proposed driveway. There are 2 questions. One is where it changes from bituminous to gravel, and there's a note there with an arrow just to the left of the house and a line that...
It does, it says...
It does say that,
It
yes.
says that, right?
So it is there, and that answers that question, I believe. That's the end of
Thank you.
the bituminous. Not a problem. I yelled at somebody and said, why didn't you? And I got yelled at back, said, look at the plan. So we're good with that. The only remaining thing that we can discuss is that the comment about the stormwater going down that driveway, and it does go across the property. And what we've put on the plan is a erosion control along that property line that would be a temporary erosion control barrier and also a barrier to keep people on their own property. And the stormwater from this site and the adjacent site, which is being redeveloped but not jurisdictional, was one piece of property at one time. At one time, there was a ditch there. And today, there's a catch basin that takes all the stormwater from both these properties. It will continue to do so, and that's where some of our stormwater goes. It goes to the adjacent property on the catch basin. It came up at one of the original hearings, somebody asked about the catch basin that shows up on the existing conditions plan in our driveway in front of the existing house. That's going to be eliminated. That pipe comes out. It's only a 4 or 6-inch pipe. It doesn't do much. And we've regraded that portion so it goes where it currently goes, to that catch basin. That's my pitch. I think I've covered everything. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission or staff may have.
Okay, so let's start with Eileen. Eileen, are you satisfied that they have answered all those concerns that we had?
Almost. I just needed clarification on that part. When you said, sorry, let me point out. Are you saying that there's a catch basin on the property? Oh, you can't even see my,
I'm going to get up and point.
that would be the best.
Because it's easy.
Right, thank you.
There's a catch basin.
I'm just going to, yeah, I just,
Right there.
I zoomed it in a bit more. Yes.
It moved.
Yeah, sorry about that. Right, so you're proposing to let some of your water go off-site into that catch basin, onto what will be somebody else's property?
I'm proposing that the existing conditions will remain as they are, slightly reshaped contours, but the water that if you went, you don't have to go to the existing conditions.
Okay.
But there's a house here, there's a driveway, and there's a yard, and all the water goes over here. That's where it goes. And at one time, to the best of my ability, and I don't have counsel tonight, this was all one piece of property. It got back and forth. Currently, Mr. Murray owns that. I've done a plan for that construction of a house on that. We've submitted plans to that effect. That catch basin will remain, and the grading for this house allows that water to come right here, and everything still goes in the basin. We have to use the basin. If we don't, I can't make the water go uphill. And I certainly can't make it go off-site because I got a 2-foot grade difference. So the answer is yes, and I believe we have the right to do that.
What gives you the right to do that?
Not playing lawyer, I believe that we have prescriptive rights for drainage, the stormwater, on a basis that it currently does it, it's always done it. And if the abutting landowner
Yeah.
Who was that, please?
is Robert Murray,
Okay.
if Mr. Murray, and I know he wouldn't do this, was to put a wall on his property line,
Uh-huh.
we would lose our ability to drain our property. We would
Well,
then create a
under
problem.
our stormwater bylaw, you are required to keep all of your water on your own property, all of your stormwater on your own property.
And again, I don't want to play lawyer, but I don't think I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to play lawyer. The water goes to that catch basin today.
It's all gonna be grass
It's the lowest spot of the area. It will all be grass.
It's
That's
all
correct.
grass, it's all hot top.
But that's where it goes.
What's all grass?
No, when it's done, that paving will come out on our properity.
All that
And
paving's coming out.
But that really doesn't answer the question.
So
The thing is, the bituminous one is pitching back towards the gravel, right? Or it could be made to pitch back towards the gravel so that it
No,
could
the
stay on the property.
the gravel's pitching from the ramp towards the catch basin. That entire site
Yeah,
drains into the catch basin. In 19, we'll call it 50, because I like that year, there's a plan, when they first start dealing with 128, that doesn't have a pond there. It's got a farm area, and it's got a ditch that runs diagonally from up, is Elizabeth Ave the next street?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Elizabeth is the
Yeah,
next street
Elizabeth
up.
is up there, yeah.
So up in Elizabeth, where there was some type of agricultural thing going on, there was a ditch that ran through here. They had probably pushed material to farm it, and they left that. That ditch went right out to Wynn Street. At some point, that ditch was piped, and it's piped from the famous pipe that goes up into the air through this property and out into Winfield.
No, Wind Street.
No.
Windmere,
Street goes up.
Windmere.
Windmere. Sorry, too many winds.
Windmere.
Where does the water, when it goes into that drain basin, go?
It goes perpendicular to Wynn Street, out into Windmere. I will tell you that structurally I lose it there. But across from Windmere, the structures that are over there in the property are about 8 feet lower than Windmere. And there's a wet area. I don't want to call it anything other than a wet area. That's where it all goes,
Because it's the low area,
because it's the low area.
I see.
So.
So you're using that catch basin, Mr. Murray's property, as a way of continuing it to go to Windmere?
I'm not changing, I can't change the stormwater flow. I can't do that. I can't stop it from going there. And if the abutter tried to stop it from going there, there would be repercussions because you can't flood somebody else's property. So
Right.
again, I don't want to get,
I understand.
okay, I don't want to get into your bylaw or prescriptive rights or who has the right to do things, but that's where the water goes today, and that's where it has to go. Because if you didn't,
This is a bit unusual. We normally don't have this situation, so this
Right.
is
No, I get it.
This is definitely different.
I don't think it works that good.
Is this something that
My cell would be 3 feet deep.
we should advise Mr. Murray that the water is going to continue to go from his property onto there?
Does he know that?
Yes.
yes, he does. He and Mr. Litchfield are going to build a house on there. I have submitted a plan. Can I ask you, Eileen, did that come through your department for stormwater?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Good.
Yes.
So we,
Next door, this is next door.
right next door, I have that plan with me.
I don't know
Yes.
who's working with whom, however.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I've done both plans. I'm working for both people.
Both
And-
parties.
Both parties, and I've done the grading on both of them. I have that plan, I can't put it up. But essentially, the house that will be built on, we'll call it the Murray lot, if you're familiar with it, it has a brick wall in front of it. It has a little bit of unpaved area, then there's a
Right.
paved parking lot. It used to be, I was told it was used for that, a building, whatever is next door.
Right.
That paving is going to come out. We've done our soil testing.
So does his drainage on his property, Mr. Murray's property, does that go into that catch
It
basin as well and goes into that low area?
Yeah, it currently does that and will continue to do that.
So the question I have for the commission, should our documentation say, have something from Mr. Murray that said he is aware that that catch basin is going to continue to be used?
I don't think we have any problem with that. Everything's out in the open here. We're all working,
Well, I
with each
mean-
other. But I think that's.
I mean, he's your client as well. So,
Right, but I mean, he
So
could
you
say-
have a relationship
But
with
he
him?
could sell tomorrow.
Yes.
And so we should, if you can document it in the order, I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
I think that would, because it's different than what we normally allow. And, we can't just say our policies don't allow you to discharge water into someone else's property, and then next thing you know, if you were to comply with that, then you would be flooded, is what you're saying.
Yes. But I think if you could put something in there, it would be very helpful.
Well, it'd be something, wouldn't it be helpful for Mr. Murray that says he's aware of it?
I don't think we'd have any problem getting that from, it's actually, it'll probably be Gary at the moment. Gary's running everything. Gary is everybody knows Mr. Litchfield?
Yeah.
Okay, he's in a little rehab right now from some blood issues he had from one of the
Oh, dear.
shoulder. He's doing very well.
Okay.
He's doing so well that I talk to him 2-3 times a day.
Well, give him my regards, please.
I will, but he's anxious, you've probably seen the machine sitting there,
Yes.
to get that paving out, get the trees down, and get that going.
Right.
I have a question about the regulations themselves. Eileen,
Yeah.
maybe I think I am confused. I thought the regulations for stormwater control said that the amount leaving the property must be less, or cannot be increased. I didn't think it had to be reduced to zero.
The pre and post numbers on site, the post numbers as in volume and rate,
Right.
they have to be less.
Right.
But, I mean, unless I'm misremembering it, you have to keep your own.
I don't think,
site.
That can't always be the case, but you get some sloped properties that it always has run onto their neighbors, and you're gonna make them put up a wall and keep it from going where it always used to. Doesn't make sense intuitively to me that it has to be kept on your property if it
Well, I
wasn't
hear
in
what
the
you're
past.
saying, but that's usually when it's vegetated. This is a driveway, so, you know what I mean? That's why I was wondering if we could put a berm up, but he's explaining that it's designed to go into that catch basin.
I don't have a problem with going into the catch basin. To me, it's not going to be an increase in flow or volume, so
Okay.
I'm okay with it, but I thought that was all that was required. That's my memory.
All right, Kent, anything on this? All right, Sarah, any further, how about Ed, anything on this discussion? Rob? All right, so we need, when we
We need
go
to
over,
add something.
we need
that
to
will
add
go over.
something
Okay.
that we need documentation from Mr. Murray that he is aware
All right.
that the water will continue to go in that direction.
I will get that, but I will tell you for anything you, I'm not going to let it go with that. I'll get that. There's no point.
All right. Or from
Is
Mr.
it anything that's going to change what we give you tonight?
Nothing will change anything. I mean, you and Mr. Moven had the point there. If you have a side hill property, the idea of your stormwater management policy and program is that you can't have any increase in water leaving the property. So you have to take any increase that you have to mitigate it through Caltex, through dry wells.
Right.
But if I've got 100 cubic feet of water leaving my property today because I have a tennis court, a pool, and a big roof, and I'm going to add a garage, I'll mitigate that garage, similar to the gentleman who was here with the shed. He's going to mitigate the shed water, put it in a little Caltech thing, but he's still got a house that's running into that ditch that's running into somebody else's property. That's kind of where this is. It just happens that it's a catch basin.
And it's also pavement that's draining.
Well, fortunately, by the time we're done, all that paving will be gone.
Right, okay.
I mean, there's probably a couple of thousand square feet of paving. This thing used to cut right through to Windmere, go back out to Wynn. I mean, it was, I don't.
This just feels a little bit different because normally where someone will have to build a swale to keep their runoff to the back of their own property.
Right.
And this is just different,
Yes, it is.
so
But we can't build a wall on the property line. We got by that. That was the hard one.
I think we understand.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, if there's nothing further, this is a hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to say anything? There's nobody else in the room. Online, is there anybody online for the property at 73 Wynn Street? Okay. So, we have draft documents, correct?
Which I also sent you earlier, right?
We have one question. What size trees?
Oh, we'll talk about that when we get to that.
We're good with everything else.
Well, those were just proposals.
We're still good with it.
All right.
So, a notice of intent, Burlington Wetland Bylaw application was filed for the demolition of an existing dwelling, construction of a new single-family dwelling and a freestanding garage within the buffer zone bordering vegetated wetland. The project also included installing an infiltration bed, grading, removal of 3 trees, installation of a gravel driveway behind the proposed house, and the conversion of pavement leading to the rear access road to a vegetated surface. We went through the filing history and then the document list. These things were highlighted just because I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same, you agreed with the numbers. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. The closest point of the proposed garage would be approximately 50 feet from the BVW. Closest trees to be removed would be approximately 40 feet, while the closest work, the gravel driveway, would be approximately 28 feet from the BVW. Approximately right, those numbers?
I'm good with it.
Okay. And then the commission is finding that the bank and bordering vegetated wetland, sorry, that should just be bordering vegetated wetland, I don't think there was bank there. Wetland delineation is accurate. The project is exempt from the mass management standards as it's a single-family home, but they are infiltrating to the maximum extent possible, which is what we were just describing. The applicant is proposing to infiltrate the rear portion of the new rooftop into a bed of 18 Cultec C100 chambers, the remaining of the roof and the new driveway into a bed of, well, here it says the driveway is going into the other chambers. So are you capturing some of the driveway, or did I just take that from something else?
I don't believe we're capturing any of that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So not the driveway?
No.
Forget that. We'll cross that back out. Into a bed of chambers. In addition, erosion and sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction, minimizing any impact to the resource areas. The soil evaluations show that the estimated seasonal high groundwater table is at 45 or 46 inches below the surface on site, while the low-profile chambers would sit approximately 36 inches below the surface. Only 10 inches rather than the advised 24 inches of clearance between the chamber bottom and estimated seasonal high groundwater would be provided. However, since this is clean rooftop water, this is considered acceptable, at least by me, in this particular case. The permit under the Wetlands Protection Bylaw serves as a permit under the Stormwater Bylaw, and we are proposing a bond of, I think, $3,500 again?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
$3,500. That's just fairly standard. I'm trying to keep a standard one unless it's something different. Again, we've moved over to the order now. The same plan references are mentioned, so let me know if I got any of the dates wrong or anything. Feel free to fix that.
Good.
The first several conditions are completely standard. In this case, we're permitting work within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and limited clearing within the wetland. No other work within any wetland or so other work within wetland areas has been permitted by this decision. Standard. Then under pre-construction conditions, this describes how you need to contact us within 5 days of the project starting, at which time you will show that you have recorded the order in the Registry of Deeds, you put up your erosion controls, you have a list of people available, DEP sign is up as well. And we are suggesting that the erosion control barriers shall be installed along the erosion control line as shown in the reference plan, and they should be 9-inch straw wattles and sediment filter fabric around the limit of work. Materials should not be stockpiled on the site within 50 feet of the wetlands or within 20 feet of the street. A lot of these are standard. You heard me say all these for Tamara earlier. Keep the roadway clean. If it's not clean, sweep it. Catch basins silt sacks in catch basins within 100 feet of the site, or if there's one directly in front of the site, certainly. Work involving filling and grading, as you heard earlier, no additional grading beyond what's shown on the approved plan shall be allowed without coming back to us for approval. Pollution control measures are all standard. Nothing can enter the wetlands or the waterways. You do have limited permission to remove things from the wetlands since they're pretty terrible right now. And no discharge of fluid or oil into the wetlands without being reported. No pesticides, herbicides, fungicides to be used within 100 feet of the wetlands. And that condition will be noted in perpetuity. Okay, so this is where we were talking about the stormwater management. Rooftop runoff from the rear portion of the roof shall be infiltrated into the chambers. And again, I said the driveway. Rooftop runoff from the front part of the house, is that correct? Shall be directed into the 8 Cultec chambers?
Right, yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
And then I had put something here thinking maybe we could add a berm, but let me remove that. We'll make the other one a separate condition, okay, about the, what you
That
were
they
saying.
will get a letter from the owner of that catch basin that this project will continue to use that catch basin for drainage. He's aware of it.
Okay, it was basically, you're getting, say that again, a letter from the owner
The owner of the abutting property
that it's okay.
that, yes, that they're aware that the catch basin on their property will be continued to use for drainage.
Or some kind of approval. Doesn't have to be like a formal letter.
Fortunately, you have the same attorney for both projects. I'm just
From
going to foist this sucker off.
neighbor, owner, I'll fix the words tomorrow, stating, okay with using catch basin, basically.
Right.
Okay. I'll make the words nicer tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay. But that's the gist of it, and we're all in agreement. Okay. Then for the buffer zone, restoration, landscaping, demarcation, posts with signs identifying the area as not to be disturbed shall be installed at the limit of work across the rear of the lot. Those are in plan. That shall be maintained in perpetuity and noted on the certificate of compliance. The removal of the three trees and clearing of a mobile home, a boat, and smaller trash from the wetland, either by hand or using equipment parked on the lawn, is permitted by this decision. Removal of additional trees will require approval from the commission or administrator. This was just my suggestion, and the commission hasn't yet discussed this, Chris, that's why we hadn't said. I was suggesting that, given all the other changes on site, that they would plant 3 additional native trees as replacements for the vegetation removed and disturbance of the wetland, etc. Species and locations to be determined in consultation with conservation staff. And those trees would be monitored for 2 full growing seasons, and then how you go about getting your certificate of compliance. But do you
Okay.
guys agree with the trees?
Okay, so did you have a question about that?
We did. We had a question as to the size of the tree vis-à-vis cost of the tree. 2-inch tree, 1.5-inch tree, a couple $100 tree, or $5,000 tree.
Well, a 2.5-inch tree will probably cost you $500.
2.5-inch tree caliper is fine. No problem.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, 2 to 2.5-inch caliper, whatever.
That's a good-sized tree. That
It is a
is,
good
Can we
sized tree.
put that there? We don't usually specify the size because it can be tricky to get full natives, and we're more intent on getting the full natives than
Right.
we are about the size.
well, tree,
I just talked to Dave, and he said, what's that? And I said, well, we'll get him a, you know what I mean? You get a $10,000 tree out with a tree spade.
Right.
We just want to have a range of what
Right.
he's dealing with.
right. So why don't we just say 2 to 2.5-inch tree?
Minimum 2-inch caliper?
Minimum 2-inch to 2.5.
I
That's,
mean,
that's a
there's
more than reasonable
There's a lot of
size.
trust here. We're not,
That is a very reasonable size.
we're not from Northampton or something where Dave's going to build a house, so we just want it to work out.
Oh, let me put that.
The only other comment that I have, or question, is that comments about removing the 3 trees and coming back. If there's a lot of stuff in and around that, and I love the word mobile home, that thing that somebody used to live in, the boat and everything else, there's probably a lot of 1 to 2-inch invasive, dead, half-dead stuff. We want to take all that out, too. And I don't want to be
Well, if it's invasive, why not, right?
I don't want to find out we took out a bunch of 1 to 2-inch small trees that were growing through things and inadvertently did something against the order. So give us an idea that we can do the clearing in there and clean it up.
I'm not exactly sure what your concern is.
My concern
In the
is
wetland?
that when
In the wetland?
Not in the wet, no, not in the, I will tell you that the BVW line that's flagged, I don't think there's anything on the inside of that. So this is all buffer zone. But once you pull that boat out, and you pull that tree out, and you've got this gnarly thing that's hanging over that has a root system, and we start pulling this stuff out so we can grade it and, get the species to grow back. And maybe that just comes with you being out there and saying, yeah, that's what we're doing.
You're not proposing to grade the wetland, though.
We're not doing anything in the wetland. There's no,
Right, but the boat and stuff.
I don't think the boat's in the wetland.
No.
I think it's all in the buffer.
Yeah, the wetland was further back.
You know what, I gotta take a look.
Okay.
I'm wondering,
Plan myself.
yeah, we're all doing this now.
Okay, let me pull up the plan too, just so
Yeah.
we're all on the same page. Is
Yeah.
that okay with everyone?
Sure.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, I guess the boat might be in it.
I kind
No,
of
there's,
thought it was.
boat's out here, yeah.
A lot of invasive
Where's our test pit?
Okay, I don't.
I mean, this
I
is
guess-
flag.
Oh, hang on, is the boat in the previous one?
Because you got, where's this boundary?
How about, if we're willing to say that we can clean up the buffer zone and anything happens that might be a problem in the resource, we'd certainly come back. We have no intention of going into the resource area to do anything except maybe pull.
I'm not sure what part you're asking me to change, because I don't know what the, I'm afraid I'm completely missing what the issue is.
The
Is
issue,
there a specific?
It would be outside the no disturbance.
where you talked in here,
Yes.
the removal of tree trees.
Yes, 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 yes.
Removal of any additional trees will require approval of the commission. That's what I was concerned with, that we're taking the mobile home out and the boat, and we take something that's growing in with it. I don't want to violate
Oh.
the order.
Oh, I don't think we're going, I mean, I think that anything that gets, I think it's fair to say from everybody, maybe not, that anything that gets inadvertently pulled out
We're just inside the 40.
with, a back, with a
No
bobcat,
Yeah,
is fine.
okay,
Plus,
we're good.
the stuff
We're
that's
good.
in-
I read too much into it.
Almost everything that's in there is,
Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean we haven't violated an
Well,
order.
first of all, when she's out at the site,
No,
you can
I know.
discuss all this, and I think
yeah, we can
that's...
speak of small things.
We'll do it at the site.
We give discretion of things like that to our administrator, and you just work it out, and that's it.
I withdraw my issue. I'm sorry for taking.
No problem. Okay, so, are we all set? Okay, anybody on the left have changes to this? No. Anybody on the right? I just have one comment. Do you have any issue with, given the 20 feet from the street, that you can't put a stockpile, and 50 feet from the wetland, do you have any issue with not stockpiling materials 50 feet? Is that too close for you?
That's no issue.
No, we have plenty of room.
You have plenty of room?
We have plenty of room on the right side of the house.
Okay, all right, just, I just wanted to check.
No, that's fine.
Okay, okay. All right, so, in that case, we can move ahead. Could I have a motion to close the hearing on DEP file number 122-705 for 73 Wynn Street?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor? 600. Could I have a motion to issue the findings as discussed for 73 Wynn Street under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14 for DEP file number 122-705? Second? All in favor? Same vote, 600. Could I have a motion to issue the order of conditions under both Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, and the State Wetlands Protection Act for 73 Wynn Street, DEP file number 122-705? Move. Second? All those in favor? Same vote. And could I have a motion to require the posting of performance surety for $3,500 for 73 Wynn Street project, DEP file number 122-705, under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14?
So moved.
Second? Does this need discussion from anyone?
No.
All in favor? That's 600.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with this project.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a lot of work to do.
Anybody need a boat?
No, I think...
Mobile home? It's very nice calling that thing a mobile home.
Okay, well,
It's not so homey and it's not so mobile anymore.
I don't think it ever had wheels.
that big trashy lump, mobile home just sounded a little nicer.
The site should look a lot better after you guys are through with it.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, planning board comments. Eileen, do we have anything?
We don't?
All right. Subcommittee and staff reports. Anything?
No.
Other business? Yes, Ed.
Are we monitoring what's happening over on Blanchard with that sidewalk?
I just approved the erosion controls area during the week, and the DEP sign went up there's extra erosion controls because they inadvertently put in straw wattles when it should have been compost tubes, and they were required to replace them.
Is
So
the
yeah,
walk going on both sides? Is it intermittent?
well, work is happening on both sides. Remember, they're working on the catch basin on
The
one
sidewalk's
side.
on one side, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I
But
thought.
work is happening though.
There's
But
nothing on the Mary Cummings side for
the
the
catch
sidewalk.
basin is being
Just the
replaced
catch
there
basin.
because remember, it goes right through without any treatment at all.
Right.
So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. But if you have any issues with it as you're going by, let me know.
Okay, anyone else? Bill?
Yes, I have a couple of items I want to report on. I attended a meeting yesterday for the Fox Hill School. It was a public meeting of showing everybody what was going on. Eileen was there too. Were you at that meeting? No, you were at the one today. My meeting's mixed up. It is currently on track for the September town meeting to approve the funding. But the reason it wasn't done earlier was we're waiting for the state to secure their funding. And they're going to pay for roughly a third of the project. A $100 million school, they're paying $33 million. So we can't really vote on our budget until we know how much it's going to be left in our hands. They're going to be approving that funding, I think, in July. So then we can move forward. I think we have like 90 days after they approve it to get the rest of the funding, or they'll take their money away. The school they gave some real views inside and outside and aerial, all these proposed what it's going to look like. Absolutely beautiful. But the biggest thing is it's extremely energy efficient. It has completely covered the roof with solar panels except for one rooftop classroom area. And they're going to have solar canopies over the parking spaces.
Are they really?
Yep, this is the plan. And they're going to have geothermal heating for the building. So it really should be a nice energy efficient thing. And there were no changes from the things that we saw at the last conservation. The other meeting was today. This is the one that Eileen was at also. It was the Mall Road redevelopment meeting. And that one is going to go in front of September as well in terms of defining the zoning that's needed, this form-based zoning for the area that long-term plan, the 20-year plan for this property. They had originally had decided that this whole area to be zoned was the whole mall area, all the way up Fox Hill Road and several other parking lots, and all the way over to South Bedford Street, that big empty parking lot. They've decided to reduce it down to just the mall parking lot to make it not so overwhelming for town meeting. And they showed a good way to they also talked about how to bring it up to town meeting, how to make it sound palatable. And one way they did was interesting, I thought. They showed 3rd Avenue in the Network Drive area, the view from 20,000 feet 20 years ago and the view today, how vastly different it is. And then they showed a chart of the amount of revenue that came in 20 years ago versus the amount today from each of the lots on it. And it was hugely increased, of course. And then the mall parking lot area is similar size, the scope, and so they're trying to show how much more revenue we can generate in this type of a plant. And I think that'll strike home with the...
The intent is to use the parking lots at the mall for something? Is that
for quite a bit, yes.
for housing?
Housing, commercial, green space, lab space, it's going to be a mini community, basically, is what they hope. But what the zoning is trying to do is define criteria for anything you want to put in there. So it's all sort of pre-approved. If you want to put in a lab building, this is the basic zoning requirements, the basic parking requirements, the basic setback requirements, the basic height requirements for a lab building. For a combined housing with commercial on the ground floor building, for a townhouse with no commercial.
Are they still going with the original concept of 4-story housing?
It is not clear, because one of the big discussions was...
You know this picture? With the before and after?
Oh, yeah.
That really,
The proposed after, yeah.
it goes from like asphalt wasteland to beautiful verdant
yeah.
spaces.
Exactly. But one of the big discussions was housing density. Of so many, was it 30 units per acre, I think was one of the things that they're trying to allow. And, you know, you look at something like the buildings, the Tremont and stuff across from, what was the name of that?
Fremont Lifetime, all that?
No, yeah.
CBS.
No.
Is that what you mean?
Tremont, Sonesta, all that.
Wegmans, across from Wegmans, those two buildings. One is the Tremont and one is something
Sorry,
else, yeah. But those have, you know, there's
Those are
a lot of housing in a small footprint, so you have density.
Right.
And what they're trying to encourage in this zoning is a balance between, if you have, put in incentives like if you have, will grant you more density if you leave a higher percentage of green space. You know, if you condense it, you can do that and put in more density, but only if you give more percentage of the property as green space. And they're trying to balance that against, if you don't want that kind of density, there was a big-time developer there who basically said, if it's less than 200 units, I can't make any money. You know, so, you know, I don't mind doing it dense, I'll put it as tall as you let me, basically, you know, but it's all got to be planned so it sits well in the property, and you don't want the tall buildings right up against Small Road. They'd have them over by the highway, because the highway is already 7 stories above the parking lot, you know, and there's all kinds of things to be involved there. So it was really an interesting discussion. It does include, this particular lot that's going to be at the town meeting does include the Brixmore property where Staples is, and Kohl's, as well as the mall itself. So that whole segment there will be part of the proposal. And what they're planning is that the last date for that, if that's going to be in September town meeting, they have to submit it by June 25th. Has to be 90 days before town meeting. So they're up against a deadline to decide what they're going to put forward and put it forward. I left out one thing on the high school, and that was,
So isn't that going to compromise some of the parking needed for the mall?
well, they'll be allowed to have structured parking, which they're currently not allowed under the current zoning. So that would be how they compensate for that. Under the high school, I forgot to mention one thing. If the funding is approved and the plan is allowed to progress, they expect to come before conservation in spring of 2025. Construction wouldn't start till 2026, and the first kids would go in the new building in 2028.
So this is a situation where structured parking is, if someone proposes structured parking, in exchange, they get a higher density to use the open space.
Yes.
And so what happens to the asphalt open space? Is it going to not become open space? It's all going to be structured?
It's available for proposals. You know, people can propose to put in,
Daylight it.
they'll design the streets.
What was that?
I think there's proposals to remove asphalt and turn it into green.
Oh, God, large amounts, yeah. They want to
I mean, that's what this will entail, like, how are you going to get that grass unless you're ripping up asphalt?
Right.
Awesome.
And they want to redirect some of the actual Vine Brook to more natural. Instead of going here and taking the left, they want to have it meander across what's currently part of the
I
parking
mean,
lot.
Vine Brook doesn't actually
Doesn't
take a
actually
90-degree
make
turn?
Several of them, in fact.
Currently a river in a cage, I call it, and they're going to let it out a little bit and have it more meander around and have some green space. And so it's an interesting concept. It's a 20 to 50-year plan before it's done, but they decided to zone only a smaller part of it for that town meeting. And, you know, there will be a lot of it that certainly will come before us for stormwater.
Any questions by the commission on what Bill just reported on? Are they doing an override for the funding of the $66 million school?
It is,
Are they going to use bonding?
it's going to be bonded. It's, I think that's one of the subjects of debate for the town meeting. It's estimated to increase taxes for the average home $200 to $250 a year for this project, if the funding goes according to plan. And the funding, as they finally proposed it with this Danesco company that's doing the planning, is significantly less than what they started with. They started with $130 million, I think, as their proposed budget. They've got it all down to about $100 million. And they think they can stick to that. And that includes some room for expansion of inflation and parts and stuff like that.
the debate is still to come over whether you do it with an override out of the tax base or...
It's not a proposition 2.5 override.
Right.
I forget the terminology. I find it confusing, the financial part of it. But that'll be debated heavily, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And there was even somebody who Monty brought up the same thing he always brings up. Why aren't we doing high school first? You know, who decided that it's more important to do the elementary school? And of course, the answer was we applied to the state 10 years in a row for the high school, and we got rejected 10 years
They
in
said
a row.
no 10 times.
Right. And they've now said yes to this one, and if we don't take it, if we vote no at town meeting, it's gone. You can't apply for that property again. So,
So take the 33 million and run.
what I think should happen now, whether town meeting agrees, there's always a variety of opinions. The good news, and it was somewhat, not on the high school, I'm sorry, mixing up the two meetings. One of the things on the zoning, which was interesting, is it only requires a simple majority of town meeting. I think the funding to override will require the 2/3 on high school.
Okay, anything else under other business? I have one thing. For, a question for the commission. Because the weather's so nice, do we want to go for the two meetings, one in August, one in July, start at 7 o'clock instead of 6:30? That way it wouldn't be such a rushed supper time. I don't know if anybody's interested or not. But I thought I'd throw it out there for discussion.
I always prefer the earlier start.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really care, but I would go for later.
Kent, do you have a feeling on it?
That's fine.
All right.
I'm a strong preference.
You don't have a strong preference, Ed?
Whatever you choose.
All right.
I'm alone and I'm retired.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion for those two meetings? I thought the weather's nice. If no one wants to do it, it stays the way it is.
I don't want to rock the boat. I'm a new person.
Okay.
There's no motion.
If I hear no motion, then it stays the way it is. Okay. All right. So our next meeting will be June 27th. The one after that is July 11th. And there'll be only one meeting in July. There'll be one meeting in August. Okay? And we're all set.
I had just mentioned before you got here that the June 25th meeting, we had talked about possibly having someone come in and talk.
Yes, June 27th.
June 27th?
Okay, yes.
The reason I was
Yeah, I'll
hesitating.
mention that you want to talk about it?
Well, the reason I was saying that date, even though it might be a short meeting, that's a good thing, because that's the date of the presidential debate. Question is, do we want to make an effort to have a short meeting?
All right, well, here's the thing. I have been in touch with Marcy Semenska. She is an advocate who is campaigning to do a better job regulating second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, because they do have such an effect on wildlife, okay? They're very persistent in the environment, they don't break down, and it's controlled by the state. However, towns have tried to put more regulations in place, and you're actually not supposed to be doing that. Is that correct?
Yes, the Attorney General did not approve when a couple of towns tried to do that. And so anyway, I think what we could give her is our support for the bill.
There's a bill at the State House. Okay, she cannot come on Thursday, she's tied up. But her partner in advocating for this turns out to be a Conservation Commission for Woburn, Jim Joyce. And he might be interested in attending one of our meetings for like a 5-minute sort of discussion of what's going on, and then just sort of a 10-minute follow-up discussion. That's it. So it's an informal discussion, and if everyone's okay, we'll invite him and put him on the agenda when he contacts me. Okay?
I find it strange that towns can have local regulations that are more strict than the state for the Wetland Protection Act, but you can't do it for rodenticide, rat traps.
And states must be at least as strict as federal laws, but they can be more strict if they want to regulate something that the feds regulate, they can be more strict. So this is really odd that the Attorney General would say, no, you can't do that.
Some chemical company must be pulling some
Is
strings.
Maura Healy?
This is, the Attorney General is Campbell. So, okay, if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 600.